Hi, this is Sue Quackenbush, Chief People Officer at Dynatrace. In this episode, I have Brian Chandler, who is our Principal Solution Engineer. And I am very excited to really get to know Brian and talk to him about his journey at Dynatrace, which is very interesting. So, welcome, Brian.
Hey Sue, great to see you. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, I am excited to speak with you, and I know that you are based in Florida, and so you're a remote employee, and which is fabulous. I am as well. And you've been with Dynatrace for over 13 years. And I know that you were with us, and then you went away, and then you came back. So you've had a very interesting journey, and I would love to get your thoughts on what convinced you to come back after you left.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess just to kind of start from in the beginning, I graduated college in 2013, and th those who don't know, there's this program that Dynatrace has had for years, called PDP or Professional Development Program, and they hire basically fresh out of school college grads to do the full, indoctrination into Dynatrace. It was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me in my career. And it was the first 6 months they really just invested, well, Dynatrace really just invested in me and the rest of my class in full product training, soft skills training, really preparing us for the professional world. It honestly felt like grad school. If I had to kind of give it something like that. And from there, that was sort of the feeder into our professional services division of the company. At the time, they called them Guardians, so that might still ring a bell for a lot of customers out there. They're called Velocity Consultants now. It's essentially the Dynatrace experts that customers get to utilize on site full time to be their expert, consult them, make sure they're getting the most value out of the Dynatrace platform and products and services that we offer. I started at one of our big automotive customers in the Detroit area. That was an awesome time. I got to really get a ton of super valuable experience right out of the gate as a young, early 20s person. Was involved in, major website launches, helped in the, stability of and delivery of their most important digital assets and applications. And then I decided, yes, I was like, hey, maybe I'll see what it's like, working in the bank life. And so I did that. Got a lot of great experience with that as well. But then to your question, I'm finally coming around to it here, is we have an annual conference called Perform, where all our customers come together, and I was there to speak as a customer there. And then our now global leader of the solutions engineering organization kind of cornered me a little bit and was like, "Hey, we think you'd be really great as a solutions engineer. I know you wanted to do that before you left. Why don't you come back?" Yeah, Dynatrace has always given me, amazing opportunities. And like I said, I mean, I don't know what I would be doing today if I didn't get that initial, PDP, job right out of college there. And it's just really given me all sorts of great opportunities.
Well, and that's a great story. So thank you. And sometimes when opportunities present itself, you have to take a hard look. And it sounds like you've had a number of opportunities, both within Dynatrace and out, and you've decided to come back and stay and be with Dynatrace, which is fabulous. When you think about your role in, as a solution engineer, you've kind of described this as like the best role ever. Can you help me understand, like, what is the essence of the role? And how if someone doesn't know what the role is, like, how would you describe that role?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question because it's sort of one of the best kept secrets or unknown sort of roles that you don't really hear about, in college. In college, when you get a tech degree, you're like, oh, that just means I'm going to be a developer or something like that, right? But it's really a lot more than that. When you're talking about what a solutions engineer is, or it also could be known as a sales engineer in a lot of places, because ultimately you are supporting the business development side, but you're technical as well. You get to have your feet in both areas. So, for example, we have this big rental car company down here in the Southeast that have been customers for a long time with us, and they've always used Dynatrace as a technical troubleshooting monitoring solution. Understanding how their systems are working when they're broken, how can they fix it? They would kind of turn to Dynatrace, and that is our that historically been our bread and butter. But we do so much more than that as a platform and as a product. And this was a super rewarding time I had with this customers because you really get to give them the aha light bulb moment of, hey, we have all this data. Why don't we, do more with it? And Dynatrace just collects all of this rich technical data that you can use to really help your business. So what's great is just being able to make your customers successful and realize things like that. So in this case, what happened was we basically started understanding in real time or help them understand in real time their booking engine and how partners and everything would come in and book rental cars, what the behavior was, how they could optimize it. One thing you might not realize too, and I didn't either when I first learned about this, is actually I thought for me, I was like, well, I'm just going to go to their website. Most people probably just go to their website and book a car through that. That's not the case. Most bookings for a lot of travel in general in the travel industry go through partner applications. So think Priceline, Kayak, your airline app, right? That's where most of the bookings are. So it's extremely critical that those connections are successful. So one of the new ones that are out there, or newer ones, is the Uber app. Uber in certain cities has started actually interfacing with rental car companies, and you can actually rent a car through that app now in certain cities. And that is an extremely critical technical integration that just needs to work all the time, or it will impact business. And in their case, they started noticing with the data we were providing them and said, hey, some weeks we're not seeing the amount of bookings come through this very critical partner that we have that we normally see. Why is that? And being able to answer that why was like super rewarding and really put the light bulb up on them how valuable Dynatrace is to their business because we were able to help them understand that a lot of these partner applications and partner integrations, they do this to all rental car companies, not just this one, or all travel companies, I should say. Um, if that connection is unstable and you're not getting those rates quickly enough to their app, they're going to cut you off and not give you the opportunity to for that booking. They're going to give that opportunity to their competitors because they Uber doesn't want you to slow their app down, right? And as soon as that happens, they'll just cut you off, and then they'll give that opportunity for business to somebody else. And being able to solve that problem and really like understanding their business at a deeper level, because those are like the little things, if you don't work, with certain companies and verticals, you don't really realize the business is actually way more complex than you think so, and that applies to any vertical. I mean, that story I told you about the travel industry, it really applies to any industry. Any industry is going to have these little nuances that you didn't realize.
That's awesome. And I would think from listening to you explain this, it also sounds like it's really, if you love to solve problems, it seems like you're working with a variety of customers in different industries. And if that's true, like how do you stay relevant? Because it's constantly changing.
That's a great point because basically it's a jack of all trades sort of because you do work with different clients and customers and just folks in general that have completely different tech stacks and all of a sudden from one week to the other you have to learn this complete new technology. Like I'll talk to a customer and they're like, well, we're running our new app on Quarkus or some weird technology that you've like, what's that? And you got to go learn that really quick. One of my mentors, when I was talking to them about kind of moving into the sales engineering or solution engineering space, kind of told me, he's like, well, it's kind of a mile wide and an inch deep, which I like personally. And that's another good facet to it because you get exposed to so many different things and you have that variety.
So the variety, I mean, I would have to think that you need to be curious. You need to be open to learning. The communication skills are key, and to have and be able to stay relevant with your role. And switching subjects. So 13 years is a long time with a company. What makes you stay?
really like this place a lot because it's unique in well, and this is just one of the reasons why. I mean, there's all sorts of, but one of the main reasons, if you had asked me, was that our founder is still hanging around here from its beginning days, and so are our core product people, like the core engineering and product people that build our product, have rebuilt our product, have reimagined it, are still here since like I don't know, was it 2006 or something like that, 2005? Um, in the software industry, that's kind of unheard of a little bit. I mean, doesn't happen a lot. Usually when you go, through, any kind of, business cycle from growth to IPO to, billion-dollar company, usually you start seeing founders and stuff kind of sailing off with their five boats and having a great time. But our core product people don't do that. They're here, and that just gives me so much confidence, and always re-energizes me that instead of just letting our product kind of die on the vine and get stale like so many other software companies do out there, or just get acquired, something like that. uh we have rebuilt our product from the ground up multiple times and like leapfrog the market. So just having that kind of knowing that they're there and they're always thinking about new ways to, help innovate the market like that. I just love that. And that really does, it's a big reason why I've stuck around, like I have.
Well, it's wonderful to hear, and you're right. Our founder is still and is our CTO, and he's is extremely focused and driven. He is truly a visionary, but it also speaks to our our culture, right? And our which is really underpinned by our values. And our first one, innovate with passion. When you think about our culture as being very curious and open and authentic, this all ties together, and it's really coming from the founder as well as those, you're right, the key engineers who've been here since the beginning. And that's a wonderful thing, right? And so when you think about someone considering a solution engineer role at Dynatrace, because we are hiring, we're growing, we're always looking for individuals. What should they know before they apply?
If I'm talking to a new solutions engineer, and I don't want to say this is like a hard and fast rule, this is what's worked for me. What I see a lot of successful solutions engineers out there is your personality is your best asset. Even if you're an introvert and you're not the most extroverted person, you still got a personality down there, and they're people love to see that authenticity. So when I say that, it's just wear your personality on your chest, as a solutions engineer. And that's such a big thing, especially in technology, when you interface with customers and these technology teams. Just being authentic is really important in that space, and being empathetic. You're going to get a lot of, what we call in the sales cycle challenges. We're going to be going in there, telling, customers and prospects, hey, this is what our product does. We understand this is, what you're looking for. This is how we're going to solve it. And you got to be ready to handle some challenges. Some folks, they might not really believe you, when you first tell them, what we can do and what our product does and things that we can do. But you got to be okay with that. You got to be patient. You got to be empathetic and understand, what they're asking. And really, that's kind of the fun part. Once you start gaining kind of that trusted advisor status is really what you're gunning for. And eventually, what the end goal is that your customers will start coming to you and looking to you as their technical trusted advisor.
Well, I think that's fantastic advice. And well, Brian, this was fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your thoughts on your role and how someone could get into that role. I really loved our conversation, and want to thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was awesome. Happy to be here.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today's podcast. If you'd like to follow us, please do so on Apple and Spotify.